about probably 7, 8 years ago, probably 9 years ago, I went through a terrible divorce, and I was healing, moved back in the ministry, was just really trying to plug into the Lord, stayed away from women, wouldn't talk to them for more than 2 minutes at a time. And because I didn't look at it like, God, when are you going to bring me someone I deserve? I look at it like, what do I have to offer anybody? Because I'm trash right now. I'm trashed. So, you know, I was ready to say, but God, in a dream, I was told that God was going to use Pastor Phil to show me who I needed to marry, if that was to be the case, because I always said that afterwards. I mean, that's a true story in my mind. And was ready to say single because my picker was screwed up. But anyway, one day, it was Super Bowl Sunday, and we were all at breakfast, a bunch of us riding, driving. We were going to go to a Super Bowl party after breakfast. Well, we all met up for prayer afterwards, and this subject came up of Lisa. And, you know, we had talked, and to me it was just like, we talked, but I did my 2 minutes or 5 minutes and got out of there. And she even asked me, why are you shining me on? And, well, this is because why. So anyway, when we were all there, a few of the guys there, Pastor Phil brought up that, hey, you know what? Pastor Phil goes, hey, Trina, you know, what about Chip? I think it's maybe time for Chip to start dating. I'm looking at him going, what? Because we didn't talk before, what are you now? And so then a couple other people chime in. So he makes this statement, we're going to pray that if Lisa shows up to the Super Bowl party, that it's a sign from God. I'm like, all right. Sure, Chief. So, but I know he's never talked about that. He never, you know, he never set stuff up like that. He's always said, don't get married, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm like going, well, what's he talking about? You know, Chip's time. Anyway, a number of the brothers, Dave, Ed, a bunch of the brothers there, and Ed stands out in my mind vividly because, and I'll at least tell her side in a second. You will. But this is really important to me because once we show up there, Lisa shows up. And I'm just going to give this part. We're out on the front porch. Her sandals are out on the lawn. It's facing the beach. Okay? Apparently she's down on the beach with her niece or something. But the one thing I vividly say, I'm not going to give Lisa's story, part of the story. But I remember Chief going, man, don't be missing God's calling. This is it. And I'm like, okay, sure. My butt was glued to that seat that we're all sitting. About 5 of us are lined up on the porch, you know, looking out there. Her sandals are right there. And I'll never forget Ed. He stood up, Big Ed. You know Big Ed? That guy right there? He stood up and he goes, Chip, he goes, do I have to pick you up and carry your butt down to that beach? And my butt left that seat so quick. And that's the beginning. I'll let Lisa tell the rest.
Never told it in front of a big crowd before, but family and friends. So, and this is God's story. This isn't our story. We didn't make this up. God set it in motion and used so many of you in this family to make it happen. So this story is always God's. It's not ours. We're just a part of it, just like a lot of you are. And for me, 37, married and divorced, I knew, as Chip said, my picker was broke. All the relationships I had had in my life, none of them had ever worked out, and I just decided at that point, I'm done. I want to be married, I want to have children, but if that's not destiny, then God, I'm yours. So one day I prayed a very strong prayer, and I said, I'm yours. I will remain single for the rest of my life, which means no husband, and if no husband, no children. So I gave that up and decided to dedicate my life to God and what He had for me. And a year and a half later, I find myself at Set Free Church, and just like Chip said, he never talked to me for more than 2 minutes. It was, hi, how are you? How's work? Great. God bless you, sister. And I couldn't figure it out. And then he gave me that excuse of, I'm mentoring men in the ministry home. I got to walk my talk. And I'm not in a place to offer a woman anything. So that's why I only spent 2 minutes, because you're somebody else's. And I have nothing to offer a woman, so I don't want to lead you on or anybody else on, which was very odd to me. I never heard a guy say that before. So Super Bowl Sunday, I was supposed to spend with my niece, and I wasn't going to the party. I was hanging out with my niece that day. My sister called and said, come on down to the beach. Cody and I are here and hang out. So we drove over. I come walking up the alley, and Chief and all the guys are standing there, and they started humming, da-dum-dum. A very odd song. I didn't get it. And Chief goes, well, we were just talking about you. I was like, okay, hope it was good. And so I head to the beach, and I don't think anybody knows this is Chip, but I kicked my sandals off because I had my purse, my knees, everything. When I get to the beach, I don't want to hold my sandals too, so I kick them off on the lawn, which was Chief's sign to Chip that was me calling him. But the very strange part is I walk across the street, and step up on the curb and step in a big pile of dog doo. I just had to laugh. It was just okay. So I'm sitting on the beach with my sister, and niece and nephew were playing, and Jennifer gets a phone call and says, somebody's here at the house for you. You have to get back here. She thinks it's her husband. And so she leaves, and Chip's there, and we're talking, and we spend about 2 hours talking on the beach. And then we head back to the house to have some tea.
And I walked down to the beach in my biker outfit with my boots.
It's about 80, 85 degrees in the sand. So he said, hey, about 11 months ago, your sister wanted to set us up on a blind date with them. And I said no at the time. I wasn't ready, but I'm ready now. Would you like to go out and have dinner and get to know each other? And I'm like, okay. So a week later, we have our first date on a Friday, and just all we talked about was where we were in our lives and where we wanted to go. And it was all about the Lord and what He was doing in our lives and what we saw our future to be.
Now hold that thought. But the day at the beach, he made it so relevant. He got, wherever we walked, he got everybody out of that room so that we could talk. It just blew me away. So, I mean, he made everything happen so that we would be alone. And anybody that did walk in the room, everyone's outside the window signaling to get out. Anyway.
I think he looked at Vanessa. She sat down and he goes, whoa. We didn't notice. We were just talking and stuff. So a week later on Friday, we had, all week long we had talked by phone and text and email, and just sort of got to know each other. And just really asked serious questions, not lame ones. Who did you date? How was your marriage? Yeah, it sucked. But really serious stuff, and got to know like the meat of each other. And then we had our first date, and 2 days later, Chief has one of his very famous picnics at Cabrillo Park down the street. Great day, potluck, barbecue, games, volleyball, great day. And then at the end, he does this the roundup of everybody who's left, and there was probably, I don't know, 75 people there still. And Chief always says, wow, what a great day, what a blessing, it was really great. Hey Chip, why don't you come up here and tell everybody what's going on in your life? So Chip was like, oh, I'm working here, and I'm doing this and that, and I went on a date. And everybody freaks out, because Chip hasn't been on a date or been with a woman in 2.5 years.
We're a little nervous. Yeah.
So he's like, who, and I get called up, which is like my favorite thing, to be up in front of a crowd. And he said, this is Lisa. We went out on our first date 2 days ago, and before I know it, he's down in front of me on bended knee.
Whoa.
And I get the clue of what's happening, and I swear this happened, just like from the Matrix movie. Time stopped. Everything was in slow motion. There was Matthew and Rock were there with videos going around us. The videotape, it's very slow motion. And I look at the crowd around me, and my sister's there, and, Jennifer, she's standing there, and in slow motion, she's like,